Well, on this Veterans Day, Fox 7 Austin is once again a proud partner in the Make Camo Your Cause campaign to end veteran homelessness. In tonight's Fox 7 Focus, I spoke with David Traxler, the executive director of U.S. Vets Houston, about the huge difference this effort is making for veterans right here in Texas. For those of us wondering what's all the camo about on our logo, people wearing camo on air, what is Make Camo Your Cause?
Well, camo print is the official symbol of supporting our veterans across our nation. U.S. Vets is using this campaign to drive awareness for our veterans as well as to raise revenue in order to serve our veterans and to end veteran homelessness.
So talk about the problem of veteran homelessness. How big of an issue is this? What are we talking about in terms of numbers?
So 9% of all homeless people across the nation are veterans, which is a big number. One of the hardest things I think for veterans to do is just ask for help. You know, it's not something that we're taught when we're in the military. It's solve the problems, find a solution, keep moving forward. And so when you find yourself in a situation that things start going downhill, it's hard to know when or to say, hey, I need some help here. And to put that in perspective, when I retired from the military a couple of years ago, it took me more than 6 months to find a job. And in that time, I couldn't support my family, I couldn't pay my bills, and we were on the verge of losing our home.
And I understand when it comes to veteran homelessness, it's not necessarily, someone living on the street. It's not necessarily that stereotype, right? I mean, what sort of forms can this problem take?
Well, any veteran that finds themselves without a permanent place to live is considered homeless. And to put that in perspective, we had a veteran that we were serving. You know, he and his wife split up, and when he took custody of their son, he was autistic and he needed round-the-clock care. And so the veteran ended up losing his job, and because of that, he lost his truck, he lost his home, and they were living in a hotel by the time that they came to us. But when we started serving them, we helped them get into a permanent place to live. We helped the veteran find a job that would work around his son's schedule.
And talk about that work a little bit. U.S. Vets does a lot of things to sort of just give a little boost, just a little help to these people that want to do this on their own, but maybe just need a hand. Tell me a little bit about some of the actions that you guys are able to take.
So U.S. Vets provides transitional housing for veterans who find themselves without a permanent place to live. We also provide permanent housing for low-income veterans as well as disabled veterans. We provide transitional support, so we're able to help pay mortgage payments or utility payments for veterans who are in transition, whether that be from military life to civilian life or in between jobs. And we provide full wraparound support services that a veteran need through case management support, behavioral health services, as well as workforce services. So we do resume writing, job training, and job placement.
I understand a lot of this sort of boils down to mental health. You have people who've had traumatic experiences in combat sometimes and struggle to readjust to civilian life. How does U.S. Vets help make that transition easier for people?
So we do provide behavioral health support services that a veteran may need, regardless what issues that they may be dealing with, whether that's PTSD, whether that's addictions, whether that's any other kind of emotional struggles that a veteran may have.
So people out there, we have a lot of viewers who are veterans or who have family members who are wondering, how can I help? What's the best way that people out there can help this cause?
So I truly believe that we all have an obligation to serve our community. And I would challenge everybody listening here today to find a way to get plugged in, to find a way to serve, to find a way to support, to help make our community, our nation better. And I would encourage everyone to log on to usvets.org to make Camo Your Cause and to support and donate today.
David Traxler from U.S. Vets, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for all the work you do, and we're happy to be a partner with you guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you.